Welcome to Minerva. Today we're going to be discussing the lost relics of the Knights Templar. First of all, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Duncan.
Hello.
And we're honoured by the presence of Hamilton White.
This is where I get them taken off air.
So, this is the third episode. Please do go back and look at the other episodes if you haven't watched them already. And we're going to get straight into the filming that you did with the History Channel on the lost relics of the Knights Templar and also
Series 1.
that's Series 1 and the second series, which you've just recently released.
Yep.
So, the nitty-gritty side of things, obviously you've travelled around so much to do this filming. What was the favourite location of yours?
Oh, God. Of interesting places, Jerusalem's fantastic.
I can imagine.
Really, really good. Forget the religious angle of it, just the actual place as like this melting pot of history. It's magnificent.
Really?
Would have been nice to have a little bit more time there, but we're on such a tight schedule. It's like, oh, Holy Sepulchre. Oh, yeah, that's interesting because you've got to be over here in 5 minutes. Okay. Bit frustrating. That is just great. I shall certainly go back there and have a bit more time there. And Templar, Roman, pre-Roman, it's just a whole, everything is in such a little compacted space. It's just fascinating. You know,
Did you
really
find it as being that's like the Smelting Pot? Did you feel that there was... I mean, cinematically we see about all these cultures. I mean, one of my favourite films is there's the Knights of the Templar in there, and where they lose Jerusalem to Saladin.
Oh, yeah.
And you see the different cultures all living together. Would you say that's still evident?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you're actually within the walled city of the old city of Jerusalem itself, I mean, it's divided up into quarters.
Right.
And as you walk around it, there's a demarcation line from Armenian quarter to Arab quarter. And it is, you step over a line that's actually on the pavement and you are in a totally different thing altogether.
And does it feel like there's religious tension there still, or is it reasonably peaceful?
Yes, but it feels like it's artificially stirred up.
Ah, okay.
I mean, it's just really odd that it's such a terrible shame that such an important place has ended up the way it is.
Yes, of course.
But it does feel like it's let's generate more and more problems and let's ship some Palestinians in to do this, then it's an odd atmosphere, but the actual place itself is brilliant, really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, you walk around and it is you walking down the streets of the old town and then you go down a few feet because that's the way the roads are, and you can see in the pavement, you're putting out bits of pottery that, you know, we're in a Roman layer. I mean, you know, only tiny little shards and things. Yeah. But it's just remarkable that you can still walk around a city today.
Yeah.
And nobody takes any notice. The locals, it's a shrug of the shoulders.
Dust and dirt, and that's what's there.
Interested? Yeah, I don't know.
Because isn't that because Carl, your co-host, was got his tattoo done at the oldest. Is it the world's oldest tattoo?
Supposedly, yeah. The tattoo he definitely wasn't going to get. That he was carried away with the magnificence or whatever it was of being in the tattoo parlour. And yeah, out he came with his little pilgrim's tattoo. It actually works really good.
I think,
really,
that is.
good,
I'm not a tattoo person, but hearing the story behind it, do you know what? I'd be tempted by that.
Yeah, when I was watching, I was just thinking to myself, fair play to him. You know, it was obviously a moment in time for him.
Well, I think that's what it was. It's because he's more fundamentally religious.
Yeah.
And I think he had the realisation of like, wow, I'm in the place that people have been coming for thousands of years. And it's like, here.
Yeah.
And great, you know, he hasn't regretted it since. And I think his mother told him off. But beyond that. But, you know, he had a real good day. I don't think it made it on screen. But the guy who runs the Razuk, I think his name is, he's a biker and he'd arranged for a Harley Davidson and the pair of them went off on the Harley round.
It was only on the Facebook pages. Yeah, we saw that. Lovely touch.
Didn't make the cut, but it was like his little moment of he's doing his thing that he loves and I'd gone off with Roger and we'd gone off to see an antiquities guy. It was brilliant. I mean, the whole thing about Israel I just found absolutely riveting. So that was great. And also, I mean, for me, I found the whole area around the Pyrenees, French and Spanish side of it, just fascinating. It's great atmosphere.
In what way? Is it cultural atmosphere, or were you looking from a historical perspective? Or both?
All of it, actually. There's a place that if you just wandered off on your own and could walk around the Pyrenees for a few days just in peace and harmony with the world, incredibly relaxing and just, you know, you only need to be 10 minutes outside of one of these little villages and you're just lost from anywhere.
Well, we've travelled to the south of France together, haven't we?
Yes,
and, We've been to Rennes-le-Château, Rennes-le-Ban, all the areas around there.
All there.
And there is just something magical about that area.
Yeah.
I know, listening to so much of the content about Rennes-le-Château through the years of researching it together, people often do say once you go once, you're always drawn.
You're going to come back again. Yeah.
Because of course there's the plateaus where you go and you see the Pyrenees tracing it. There's no perspective of distance, but there's
on and on.
It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I mean, we did both sides because we did a little bit down in the sort of Montségur area, and then came back a bit later, and we did into Barcelona, then coming up to where did we come up to? I've forgotten now. Montserrat. And then actually going up into the Spanish side of the Pyrenees itself, we followed the route, the sort of Charlemagne route, coming across from France and following the Charlemagne up to his cross. Just fantastic.
Yeah, what a pilgrimage.
Brilliant. I really would do that again. But that would just be for me to go and sit there on my own and just take it all in. Don't need to learn
no filming
anything.
schedules.
No, nothing. Like just sit there and just take it all in because it was just breathtaking. And really good.
Am I wrong in saying, if you do correct me, but it feels like, having spoken to you previously, that you're not someone that is massively into the kind of the religious aspect, but also the more esoteric stuff. But I think going to that part of France, it seemed to hook you a bit.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not in the least bit interested in any form of religion. I don't need it. But the sort of slightly oddball, otherworldly side and the esoteric-y bit that is the don't understand, but there is some strange stuff going on, that's riveting, and I think it's because you don't understand it.
No, I saw a picture of you being, well, it looked like you were being baptised in, was that in Rennes-le-Ban? You're in a pool of water.
Hang on, this is some kind of drunken, stupid thing
might
that
have
I'm off
been.
scene.
Yeah, I thought you were in a pool of water somewhere in Rennes-le-Ban.
Oh, no, that was Bertie, our cameraman.
Oh, was it?
No, would have been. No, that's Bertie, our number one unfortunate that had to suffer me and Carl for God knows how long. But no, him and the other camera guy, after we'd finished filming, we went and got in the healing waters of Rennes-le-Ban.
Right, okay.
Because we'd done a bit of filming there with Richard Stanley, and we'd done a bit on the sort of Cathars, and we'd done Montségur. And we sort of did a couple of days with Annika Cormans as well, which again didn't make the programme, unfortunately, which was, we went down to Galamus, which is again, great little valley, fabulous scenery, but didn't get used.
Oh, shame.
Shame, terrible shame.
A lot of stuff like that does always hit the cutting room floor, but it would have been nice to have seen those extra bits.
They were great. I mean, so much of what we thought was great fun stuff just didn't make it. Terrible shame. It's... My disappointment is when me and Carl are out, it's always so much fun. The whole essence of it is us having a bit of fun and doing our history stuff. And it seems to be sanitised, and they want to take that element away.
You're talking about the production system?
Yeah, the way it's all edited together. And the history, what I hear from everybody is there's just, what are these fantastic objects? Well, why didn't you talk about them or cover them a bit more? Yeah. Well, we tried. It just... For whatever reason, they just didn't want to do it.
It would have been nice to have seen a lot more of the scientific side of things. Certainly in that first series, there were some times where you felt, I was drawn in to wanting to know a bit more about it. And obviously, great that I've been in contact with you to ask those questions. But for a lot of people, they haven't been able to do that. Has there been any sort of moments that have been really spectacular to you, either behind the scenes or during the filming, that just are things that you'll remember for a long time?
Well, there's been lots of things that we thought were going to make it onto the screen because they were just right. We got that magic moment.
Okay.
I mean, when we were up in Israel on Temple Mount, because we did the Dome of the Rock and outside Al-Aqsa, I hadn't told anybody, but I'd got in my pocket a proper Templar seal. And I just popped it out right at the end of the film when nobody knew anything about it. And it got Carl spontaneous. And it was just great because, this is probably the first time a Templar piece has been here for 800 years. We're on Temple Mount, we're standing at Al-Aqsa. Yeah. And it was a great, 3 minutes of spontaneity.
Wow.
Didn't make it. Didn't get in the cut. And there were just lots of other little moments that me and Carl, when you get into it, you just look at each other and you go, yeah, got that one right.
Yeah. So how much of the production thing did you have a say in then?
Nil.
Really?
Well, I mean, we had the ideas of, well, this is a sort of framework for what we think we can do within a program.
Yeah.
But the actual finished product, the edit and everything, zero. Nothing to do with us at all, unfortunately.
Wow. Oh, that is a shame. I mean, were there was there quite a big crew with you guys? And obviously you would have made some friends on the crew and with the other people that you've met, like Richard Stanley.
Yeah, I mean, of the people that we've met as part of it, Richard Stanley and Annika and some of the other crowd from down your part of the world with common friends, we've stayed in touch and it's been good fun.
Did you say we're common friends?
Common friends, you know what I mean? Common friends within friends within.
I know what you mean.
Not riffraff, I wasn't going like that. So, no, I mean, Dominic, who was our director, editor, I'm not quite sure what his title is. Dom's been great and he's hooking up with Carl, hopefully to do some productions and look at some other jobs.
Brilliant.
But
with your collection?
Well, we're looking at the moment in trying to get some financing in to try and actually make the more history-focused programs rather than the lightweighty stuff that we've been doing. We've got fingers crossed, a very good American who's, I think, is going to come on board with us, who wants to do some of the other stuff that you've seen.
Yeah. Is this for mostly so you get more control of what you're actually pushing out?
Yeah, to try and actually turn it into the program that we thought we're first going to be making, which is kind of me and Carl being ourselves, having a bit of fun. You can still do the car stuff, you can still do games.
That was my next question. I had it lined up.
Yeah. To still do all of that, which is what we do anyway.
Because that's part of you guys, isn't it?
That's what we do anyway.
Interesting.
But try and wheel in a bit more actual historical accuracy. And if you're talking about a chalice or some of the items, actually try and focus it on why is it important? What's it made of? What is the significance within the Templar world?
Yeah.
And actually try and just beef up that, which is what I think we were missing. And it's what I hear from everybody. It's why don't you go and make a history program?
Yeah. Well, you've brought some wonderful things along for us today. We've had a piece in every episode, and this is the piece for this episode.
Well, it's an oddball piece, yeah. And really, it's the least interesting looking thing on the surface. As I think some great wit said about 10 minutes ago, it looks like a naan bread.
It does look a bit like
it wasn't
a naan
me.
bread.
Yeah,
normally I would get the credit, but it wasn't me.
No, well, actually, it's not an naan bread. Why it's interesting, and it's the difference between knowing what something is and understanding why it's very significant and important, is that you look at it, the front face we're looking at here, it's an image of Astarte. You know, it's a Middle Eastern goddess. She came over to Europe. This piece is from the Iberian Peninsula, Spain, Portugal. We don't really know, but that sort of area. It came over with the settlers several thousand years BC. They brought their own cultures, they brought their own religions with them. So you've got an Astarte, a Middle Eastern goddess, in Western Europe. But what makes it interesting, and it's a common theme that we've had, and you'll understand, of religious sites are continually reused over the ages. You look at Chartres Cathedral, it's built on a pagan site. You look at so many different important religious edifices of all religions that are continually reusing them. Romans reused Celtic sites, they then became Christian sites. It happened over in the Holy Land, you know, pagan sites were then Christianized. But this actually demonstrates exactly what you're saying, because if you actually spin it round, what you've got on you've got on the reverse of it, you've got a carving that's probably 4,000, maybe 5,000 years old on the front. On the back of it, you've got an Arabic dedication from when you had the Arabs coming up from North Africa. So that's probably maybe 6th, 7th century. And then 400 or 500 years later, it's been Christianized because you've got a Templary type cross carved on it as well. So over a sort of 2,500 years spread, you've got the same stone being rededicated and reused by 3 different religions, which is absolutely fascinating. And it's proving the point of, well, Chartres is over a pagan thing. Well, is it? Oh, I don't really know. These are the things that, very simply, you can make it interesting and explain why all of this history comes together.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not just development, is it? Sometimes it's an imposing of things, isn't it? So your pagan thing, we are superior to your pagan because we've overmarked it. So you'll take a religious icon of a culture you're overpowering. So this is our stamp now. So sometimes it's not even development, is it? It's a case of we are superimposing on it because we are more powerful. If you were powerful, your God would have stopped us from happening. So it's, but it's moments of history. To find all of it
in one stone, it's so unusual. But
where did you get it?
What I do, isn't it? You know, I handle thousands and thousands of items, but that, as inconsequential as it is I just really like it because it ties so much up in one inconsequential piece of stone.
No, I see what you mean.
It's just a cracking thing.
Yeah, there's a few things that I have. I've got this old coin that it's an ordinary old coin, but it's got the I'll never pronounce it properly. The choi, the words you got the early Christian singer was the cross.
Oh, the chai ro.
That's it. Yeah. I've got one of those. It's meaningless, but just because it's that and it resonates, it then has value. So same thing. If something gets a mindset.
Yeah. And did you on your travels filming the show, did you pick up anything? Was there
nothing?
There wasn't anybody running up to you with something saying, "Oh, here's
We never even had time to look in a junk market or a shop. I mean, it's the filming schedule is so tight. I mean, we never had a day off. Nothing. Oh, actually, we did. We had a day off in Barcelona when the cameras were stolen, so we went and sat in the bar for the day. That was great. That was really good.
Sounds like good fun.
That was brilliant. That was a good memory of it.
Yeah. I mean, the burning question, I think, for everybody, and we've got to ask it, and I mean, we have spoken, so we kind of know the answer. But, I've got to put it to you because people will strangle me if I don't. Will there be a Series 3?
We're hopeful that there's going to be some more TV. Now, whether or not it's going to be a straightforward Series 3... Personally, I can't see it carrying on in the same format because to me, I would find it very difficult to do exactly the same thing again. If we can get it off the ground where we can do a Series 3 that is what inside our own heads we'd like to do, absolutely, definitely be up for doing that, certainly 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we feel that, I know Duncan feels the same, is that, there is definitely a market for this stuff. There 100%. Are so many people that we talk to that enjoy our show, just on the basis that some of them,
most viewers really love it.
Your mum and mine,
exactly. Yeah. Make sure you subscribe. But there are people out there that want this sort of stuff.
100%. I mean, we're far more popular in Europe and the States than we are in England. I mean, I found that just going out to Europe recently. The number of times I got stopped in the street by people just very polite, tapping me on the shoulder, like, "We've seen your programme. Oh, it's brilliant, fantastic."
Wow.
And it was in Portugal, but it was Germans, Dutch people. I went in a bar and there was a group of Americans who'd seen it on Discovery Channel and being globally famous now, I got a free goat's cheese off
wow. So you've reached the higher powers.
You've cracked it when you get a goat's cheese. Yeah, definitely. That's the sole benefit of fame at the moment.
That's it.
Nothing else. Nothing
the goat's cheese.
The goat's cheese. Yeah.
Well, look, I think it's been so. We're so thankful that you've come along. You've certainly brought some bits to show us. We've had a great time being with you again. So thank you for coming and doing the show. Please do like and subscribe. We're going to push out as much content about this as we can, and we hope to continue to follow Hamilton and his tricks and his trade and see what else is coming with this. Yeah, it's been fascinating so far. So thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you again very soon.